Going on YouTube. We get into this first video, guys. I gotta show you guys something cool. This happened. So we're kind of doing a little bit of a celebration live stream. You guys bring joined. First off, on this, I just want to thank everybody for hitting that subscribe button and getting me this far. I'd really like to hit 1,000. It's kind of my short-term, long-term goals for this. But yeah, so I just want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed thus far. I'm really glad you're enjoying my content. And yeah, we can go ahead and actually get into some real videos now. Out of the way, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're going back to Colossal again. I know this is going to be kind of spread out. I'm a little bit behind the times. But yeah, we're going and talk about how Colossal has said they are going to bring back the Dodos. So previously, we went over them bringing back the thylacine, which is really cool, and how they plan on doing that. So this is kind of the same thing, but with the dodo birds. And this is one that I 100% see no reason whatsoever why we shouldn't just bring them back. We've got the DNA, all of this stuff is still there for them on their original island. Granted, there is still issues, with what went them extinct in the first place. It wasn't just humans, although the stories behind how humans de-extincted the dodos is freaking crazy in itself, and it's tied into other things, which is really cool, and we get into that further along in the video. And I think in the end, they were just kind of walking around and bashing them on the heads because they were bored. So that being said, dodos are really cool birds, and to be able to see one alive in person within my lifetime, it's just something that I think is going to be extremely cool and extremely great. So let's go ahead and get into this article. Like I always like to say, I don't own the rights to these articles. I simply use them to push along information. This particular article is coming from scientificamerica.com. Please go over there and show them some love. A de-extinction company wants to bring back the dodo. Biosciences, the headlining grabbing venture capital funded juggernaut of de-extinction science, announced plans on January 31st to bring back the dodo. Whether bringing back a semblance of the extinct flightless bird is feasible is a matter of debate. Founded in 2021 by tech entrepreneur Ben Lamb and Harvard University geneticist George Church, the company first said it would recreate the mammoth, and a year later it announced such an effort for the thylacine, aka the Tasmanian tiger. Now, with the launch of a new avian genomics group and a reported 150 million of additional investment, the long-gone dodo joins the lineup. World of extinct animals, the dodo carries some heavy symbolic weight. Native to Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, it went extinct in the mid to late 17th century after humans arrived on the island. The ungainly bird, which stood around 1 meter tall and weighed about 15 to 20 kilograms, represents a particular kind of evolutionary misfortune. Afraid of humans, but it wasn't. The bird blatantly walked up to sailors, so received history goes, and didn't flinch as their peers were killed around them. The dodos, which reproduced by laying a single egg on the ground, were also predated by other species, such as monkeys and rats, which humans brought with them. Now the creature represents extinction itself. You get deader than a dodo. It is really just the start of this project. Geneticist and a scientific advisory board member at Colossal Biosciences. Shapiro, also a professor of ecology and evolutionary biology at the University of California, Santa Cruz, has studied the dodo since the science of paleogenetics was in its infancy. In 2002, she published research in Science describing how her team had extracted a tiny piece of the bird's mitochondrial DNA. The DNA inside little organelles called mitochondria that gets passed down from mother to offspring. That snippet of mtDNA shows the dodo's relative was the Nicobar pigeon. Then, in 2022, Shapiro announced that her team at UC Santa Cruz had reconstructed the dodo's entire genome. Though the journey from mitochondrial DNA to genome took decades, the path from genome to a living, breathing animal is even more formidable, involving an enormous interacting set of extraordinarily complex problems. Technically, a species could be resurrected by cloning DNA from a remnant cell. In reality, this has been impossible to achieve, mostly because viable DNA cannot be found. Most de-extinction programs aim to recreate a proxy of an animal by genetically engineering, editing the genome of a closely living species to replicate the target species genome. The edited genome would then be implanted into an egg cell of that related species to develop. The process must ensure that development proceeds correctly, that the animal is born successfully, that suitable surrogate parents nurture the creature, that is administered a notorious diet, and that it is raised in an approximate environment. Colossal Biosciences is trying to solve all these problems at once. Even though we're nowhere near ready to start implanting embryos into surrogates, the company currently has a team working on the cloning methodology necessary for that process. It also has multiple teams working in parallel on problems of computational biology, cellular engineering, stem cell reprogramming, embryology, protein engineering, and animal husbandry, among other focuses. One of the biggest challenges in the reconstruction of the dodo is a problem for all avian genomes. With mammals, the process is like that used in creation of Dolly the sheep, the world's first animal to be cloned successfully from adult cells. But Shapiro says we can't clone birds. Cloning requires access to an egg cell that is ready for fertilization but not yet fertilized. There is no access to a bird egg cell at the same development time as there is for a mammal. Colossal Biosciences is exploring a process to extract avian primordial germ cells from bird eggs. If the process works, PGCs from pigeons would be manipulated to eventually develop into a dodo-like bird. Ultimately, Shapiro says the final version of dodo will emerge from a pigeon that has been engineered to be the size of a dodo, so the size of eggs will be consistent. Although the first stage of genome editing is harder with birds, the next stage would be easier. With mammals, scientists don't yet know how the modified embryo of an extinct species will interact with the intrauterine environment of the host species. That stage will be simpler in birds, Shapiro says, because everything happens as an egg. Once a recreated animal is born, most questions arise. Most animals have a mix of instinctive behavior, which arises from their genetic programming, and social behavior, which is learned from their parents. And in the case of social animals, their pack or group. But there is no way to recreate the unique natural history that shaped the social behavior of the dodo or other extinct animals, or even in many cases to know what it was. Michael Siding, a postdoctoral researcher in paleogenomics at the University of Copenhagen, says, "There is nobody around to teach the dodo how to be a dodo. In this sense, the word de-extinction is a misnomer. It is not possible to bring back the dodo, even if it becomes possible to build a bird with a dodo genome." Well, this is a little unfortunate. That is sort of unfortunate, but it's also really right. There's not, what made a dodo was years, it growing up with a flock, it being around its other species, learning from its environment on the island, and all of that you can't really pass down through its genetics. I mean, it's nice to kind of think that we can, but we really can't. So, and like they said, realistically, the dodo was just a big pigeon. So we can bring back something that looks like a dodo, but it won't necessarily be a dodo on Mauritius. But it will be something we can call a dodo-like thing. Beyond behavior, the dodo proxy must survive in a world that is significantly different from that of more than 300 years ago, when the dodo went extinct. Yet not much is known about how dodos functioned in their ecosystem. The birds lived only in forests in Mauritius. They had no large predators. They were slow to reproduce, laying one egg per year, and it's believed from ancient sailors' reports that there were once thousands of them. Another challenge for de-extinction is ensuring the well-being of the genetically engineered dodos. A goal here is to create an animal that can be physically and psychologically well in the environment in which it lives, Shapiro says. If we are going to bring back something that's functionally equivalent to a dodo, then we have to find, identify, or create habitats in which they're able to survive. Shapiro points to environmental restoration on Mauritius and surrounding islands. There is hope that work focused on dodo habitat restoration could have knock-on benefits for other endemic plants and animals, and even that the reintroduced bird may directly contribute to restoring its own ecosystem. Giant tortoises introduced to an island near Mauritius to replace an extinct species have helped revive native ebony trees by eating their fruit and distributing their seeds around the landscape. Sinding, who has extracted ancient DNA from Pleistocene wolves, woolly rhinoceros, and oryx, was surprised and excited to hear that Colossal Biosciences plans to recreate the dodo. He thinks the company is more likely to find success sooner with the bird than the mammoth or thylacine. He adds that this will depend on one's definition of success, however. You can genome edit the hell out of something and say you have remade a species, Singh said, but is it really the species? The dodo is a good choice because the fetus development happens in short time spans inside an egg and not in a surrogate mother like a mammoth, which would have to be gestated by an elephant for nearly 2 years, Singh said. It would be slightly easier to work with a chick than with a thylacine cub. The ethical question with the dodo, he adds, is whether the money is well spent or if we should spend that money trying to preserve some other living pigeons that are almost extinct. And that's kind of the Jurassic Park argument when you think about it. And I'm going to bring this up again with the mammoth because it makes more sense here when we do the mammoth, and that'll be in 2 weeks because next week's another thing. But like John Hammond said it best. Okay, like Ian Malcolm's conversation with John Hammond. Ian Malcolm, it's like you brought these things back. They had their time. We didn't cause their extinction. They shouldn't be here. Hammond's argument: if I were to recreate a flock of condors on this island, they're endangered. No one would shake a stick. Everybody would be happy. But condors aren't cool. Dinosaurs are. And in this case, those pigeons that are almost extinct, they're not dead yet. We still have them. So they are not as cool as bringing back a dodo. So it's always the ethical question. It's like, even though we can, should we? Now maybe we can, but now we got to figure out whether or not we should. Tom Gilbert, directly of the Danish National Research Foundation Center for Evolutionary Hologenetics, recently joined the Colossal Biosciences Scientific Advisory Board. In 2002, before he was on the board, Gilbert told Technology Network that he loved the idea and technology behind rewilding the extinct species. But he wondered about the influence of human morality on the choice of species. As the article put it, why stop at the good things, Gilbert added. What about the bad things, the pathogens now eradicated? The de-extinction of the dodo is not a solution to the extinction crisis, Shapiro says. Extinction is forever. But by pursuing the problem of dodo de-extinction, she explains, Colossal Biosciences is also developing critically needed tools for avian genomics, including for the genetic rescue of currently threatened species, such as editing genetic diversity back into a shrunken, threatened bird population. In this way, a 21st century dodo may assist all avian conservation. The dodo is only one of many lost birds. 161 avian species have been classified as extinct since 1500, according to a 2017 report from BirdLife International. But Colossal Biosciences is relying on the creature's significance to inspire scientists and with the general public to engage with all the problems of extinction. We could have picked lots of different birds, says Shapiro, raising her right arm to reveal a dodo tattoo. I happen to really love the dodo. All right, guys, and there you pretty much have it. The real question is, on this one exactly, is should we do it is kind of the thing. And even though we can, like, what would it mean for the animals that are brought back to life? And that is a really good question when it comes down to it. I mean, I think one of the reasons the dodo went extinct, and someone can fact check me on this, and please do, was their meat tasted horrible, but there were thousands of them, right? So they would just walk up and they weren't afraid. You could just walk up, bash them on the head, and kill them. But the only way to make their meat taste good was by putting it in giant tortoise fat. So literally, this species almost directly influenced the extinction of another one. Granted, they were probably going to wipe out all the tortoises too, but it wouldn't have been as fast as it was if they weren't eating dodo. And I don't know exactly how true that is. I definitely heard that from somewhere, but I don't know. Please let me know in the comments down below if you guys know if that's true. But yeah, all in all though, I would like to see dodos brought back, even with the, questionable ways and what we do with them, even though they won't be real dodos. It really would be kind of just like a big milestone. Like, we are the reason these creatures are gone. And if we can bring them back and they can possibly help the environment that they were in, why not let them? Why not bring them back? We can keep them in zoos for a while and release them off onto an island, and maybe they'll help. Maybe they won't, but we'll have to figure that out. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And while you're down there, please remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, as well as drop your comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next video.